بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Now, in continuing this book, Wabil al-Sayyib wa Raf' al-Kalim al-Tayyib, the book that talks about the virtues of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we left off between, we talked about the two janahin that the servant goes through. And then Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned Shaykh al-Islam, and Shaykh al-Islam talked about, after mentioning the two wings of being hope and mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hope and fear. And he goes on to talk about what Shaykh al-Islam, Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam al-Harawi, talks about al-arifu yasiru ila Allah bayna mushahadati al-minna wa muta'ati aib an-nafs wal-amal. We talked about how the servant is between the two things, mushahadati al-minna, recognizing the blessings of Allah upon him or her, and also recognizing aib an-nafs wal-amal. And that's where we left off, where the servant is recognized, they recognize the blessings of Allah, and they recognize their own deficiencies, and that is what keeps them firm, and what keeps them, dare we say, on recognizing the blessings and also their deficiencies. And then we mentioned the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, which is Sayyid al-Istighfar. Who knows Sayyid al-Istighfar? Naam. Allahumma anta rabbi la ilaha illa anta khalaqtani wa ana abduk wa ana la ahdi wa wahdik ma istata'at. أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت أبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. What was the connection of this dua? There's a portion of this dua, say that istighfar, in regards to these two things: remembering the blessings, mushahadat al-minna, wa mutala'at al-aib. In this Sayyid al-Istighfar, Ibn al-Qayyim uses a portion of this dua that we make, or the istighfar that we make, to recognize, which is an acknowledgement of these 2 points, these 2 things that the Muslim should remember. Naam, ahsantum. Abu'u bi ni'matika alayya wa abu'u bi dhanbi. What does that mean in English? Yani abu'u yani a'tarif, I acknowledge your blessings upon me, and I acknowledge my sins. So that's, if a slave wants to, if an individual wants to remind themselves of what life is really about, to remind themselves of their position in this life, remind themselves of just how can I come back to be a more grateful person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, think of these 2 things. How you really own nothing. You have no ultimate authority over anything, and it's with Allah's permission. So He has given you what you have, and with what He has given you, you have not fully, and you will never fully fulfill the rights of what He gives you. And when we talk about what He gives you, it's everything you can imagine. Your anatomy, your physiology, your children, your money, everything. And this is the nature of us as human beings, that we are Banu Adam, that we will commit sins and shortcomings. That's from our nature. If not, we would be what type of creation? Angels. Now, ثم قال ابن القيم رحمه الله تعالى وأقرب باب دخل منه العبد على الله تعالى هو الإفلاس فلا يرى لنفسه حالا ولا مقاما ولا سببا يتعلق به ولا وسيلة منه يمن بها بل يدخل على الله تعالى من باب الافتقار الصرفي والإفلاس المحض دخول من كسر الفقر والمسكنة قلبه حتى وصلت تلك الكسرة إلى سويدائه فانصدع وشملته الكسرة من كل جهاته وشهد ضرورته إلى ربه عز وجل وكمال فاقته وفقره إليه. Then he mentions here rahimahullah ta'ala, and the closest door that the slave enters upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who iflas. Yani iflas is the one that is deprived or broke, or doesn't have anything. Yani faqir. They enter into the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that, meaning that they're in total deprivation without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَا يَرَى لِنَفْسِهِ حَالًا وَلَا مَقَامًا وَلَا سَبَبًا يَتَعَلَّقُ بِهِ. He doesn't basically, it's going to be a rough translation. He or she doesn't see any way or any position or any means that brings forth greatness or honor at all, except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا وَسِيلَةً مِنْهُ يَمُنُّ بِهَا. And there is no means to where he or she will have the right to remind someone of the blessings. Man yamunnu means to remind someone of what you've done for them. So he's basically saying this individual has no, basically in the end of the day, they're not the repository or the actual basic source of any type of anything. And it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gives it to him. بَلْ يَدْخُلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْ بَابِ الْإِفْتِقَارِ السِّرْفِ. Rather, they enter upon the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the door of pure. He said, the iftiqar as-sirf, pure deprivation. Now this is important because we as human beings, sometimes we will think that هَذَا مَا أُوتِيتُ مِنْ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي, that this is what I've been given because of my knowledge, and this is what I've been given because of what I can clearly see in front of us. But what is very important for the Muslim is always to rely on the creator of what you see. And the creator of what you see is unseen. And the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has also created unseen forces. With that reality, it is not upon us, or is not for us, to rely on the tangible things. Because once you rely on the tangible things, it deprives you of being aware of the intangible things. And that's what the Muslim, for example, the angels, that they're writing, that they're scribes, and when we are alone, the angels are with us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always with us. And realizing that you have no ultimate authority and ability by yourself. That's why when the adhan is called, what do we say after we hear Hayya ala salah? What does that mean? La hawla wa la quwwata. Getting up and moving is only